we could become incredibly lazy because there's no necessity. So you have to create necessity in your life. You have to create the need to get things done. Power begins from within. If you're aware of who you are, if you're aware of what you're good at, what you're not good at, if you're able to see how emotions kind of govern your life, if you can learn what your weaknesses are and how to control them, you can't ever get complete control, but awareness is almost enough. Slowly through this process of knowing who you are and understanding other people and how they operate so you don't make stupid mistakes in life, you can increase that little tiny margin more and more and more, and you will be a person of power. Law number 1 in the 48 Laws of Power is called never outshine the master. And almost every single person in the world has violated that law, myself included. Basically how it works, you're so eager to impress your boss or whomever in your new job that you try so hard that you make him or her feel insecure, like maybe you're younger and better than they are. And because of that, you're fired, or something bad happens to you and you never know why.
Do you think meditation is allowing you to make more interesting connections because of the quiet?
Yes, I mean, I'm not going to go too deeply into this. It's a theory of creativity that's not my own, but that I use a lot in mastery. And basically the idea is that ideas are generated in the unconscious. They're not generated consciously. Your conscious mind is very limited what you can hold in your memory. Right. But unconsciously, in your subconscious, when you're asleep, when you're dreaming, the mind is filled with thousands upon thousands of ideas and things that are there, that are lingering there. And connections are being made all of the time. And occasionally those connections float up to your conscious mind and you have a brilliant idea about how to do something. 1 out of 10 people are like great manipulators. And there just takes one person and they can ruin your life. We were born with this natural talent. Every single person is born with this talent for getting inside the minds of other people. It's something that you're not even aware of.
How do they need to conceive of that? To what end are they using that skill to make their own?
It's easy to be lazy if you don't have any emotional connection to what you're involved in. I'll give the example that I have personally is when I lived in France, I had spent years learning French in the university, but it never really sunk in because I wasn't paying deep attention to it. It didn't mean so much to me. But there I was in Paris, I had to struggle, I had to survive, I had to get a job, I had to get a girlfriend. And suddenly, because I had to do it, because it was important to me, because it was necessary, because it was what I call death ground. Either learn French or get the hell out, you're not going to be able to survive. I learned I wasn't lazy. So your laziness is something that has to do with you. You're not connected to something deep enough. You don't feel the necessity. You don't feel the devil at your heels. You don't feel the fact that you could very well die tomorrow that will impel you to get something done. There's no necessity behind it. And the human animal, the way we were created, is when we feel pressure, we feel the necessity to get things done. We can move mountains, and we had plenty of examples of that in history. 3 emotional strengths, 3 essential attitudes. The first attitude is that your mind is open. You have a free spirit. Doors open and all kinds of ideas and evidence come in that you now look at. The second quality that you must have is patience. You must be a saint of patience, because inevitably you're going to have problems. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have criticisms. You're going to have things that don't quite match what you thought were going to happen. And you're going to get impatient. And when you get impatient, you're going to stop that process. You're going to block yourself off and you're going to say, no, I've already got it all figured out. And you won't continue on drilling, going deeper and deeper. The third quality that you must have is fearlessness. And this is the absolute most important one. You need to be fearless. You need to be able to get rid of everything you've ever believed in before. You need to get rid of all the strategies you've used, all the conventional ideas, and think for yourself and not be tied to what other people have told you is reality. The ability to get things done, you have to be in control of your emotions. You have to take a step back and you have to go, I'm not going to react. This person is pressuring me. They're saying these things. My natural tendency is to react, get my back up and bite back. No, I'm going to step back. I'm going to go, what's going to make them get out of my life? What's going to get rid of them? What's going to defeat them if they're an adversary? I made that decision not to react, to get emotional. All right, now I have to think. I strategize. I go through a process of gaming out the possibilities here. We're paying too much attention to the immediate pleasures of life. There's so many of these other distractions going on. You want to be paying attention to yourself. And the problem with people in the world today is you're not paying attention to yourself. You're not inside your own head. You don't hear those voices. You don't hear what you love, what you like anymore. And so you're always like attuned to what other people like. Self-awareness, being able to hear those voices is the key to everything. Eyes are hard to lie. They tell you something. Very skilled actors can kind of create some of these impressions. But one thing that they can't fake is the tone in their voice. And actors will tell you that it's the hardest thing to actually consciously control. So the voice of a person tells you a lot about their confidence levels, just about their general emotional tone, about their character, about who they are. It's very difficult to fake. And when it's hesitant, you can kind of sense something from people's voice, and it's very hard to fake. Discipline has to have an element of pleasure. Consistently doing your work has to have rewards. Reward is the key word here. How do you develop consistency and more discipline in your life? And often with these kind of ideas and questions, I find the focus wrong, and I like to look at it differently from a different angle. So the human brain operates by pleasure and pain. What is pleasurable, we're attracted to, and what is painful, we naturally recoil from. And if things become too painful, we never do. And if things become pleasurable, we get addicted to them, often with bad consequences, right? So if the idea of discipline, of consistently doing an action, is only associated with pain, with tedium, with being by yourself in a room, doing one thing over and over and over again, it's boring as hell. But man, I'm going to reach that moment in 3 months or 4 months. There's going to be a reward, and I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to get addicted. I'm going to get hooked to that. And you get hooked to those rewards to the point where other kinds of immediate pleasures don't have the same effect on you. And you want this again and again and again in your life. The highs that come from actually reaching your goals. So you have to think in the moment of this where you're trying to discipline yourself of what will be the reward, of the visualize it and feel it. I'm going to have this skill at the end. I'm going to have this business that I've started. I'm going to have this sense of pride. I'm going to have this sense that I got where I wanted to. And literally visualize it and imagine it and feel it in your body and know that that's where I'm gonna have that reward at some point. And if it's too much drudgery and tedium, you're never gonna get past that point. So that's sort of my main lesson.